Who told Tupac Shakur that he was under surveillance for distribution of narcotics? Somebody told him, and he told the world before the official information came out about the investigation in the death row. Oh yeah, let's get into some of this straight game.
Blackjack. Life is like those cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy Delray Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button notification. Also subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and hit that little bell notification right below this video. And that'll notify you when I drop some of this straight game. I'm gonna get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, there's been two different investigations, if you will, while Tupac was on death row, and one after he passed away, involving the FBI. But what most people don't really understand is, I don't know how Tupac knew, but Tupac knew that he was under investigation, right? And you say, well, how do you know that he knew? It surprised me also from that perspective. When you do the timeline, all the information that involves the timeline, if you will, right? So let's say on, was it February 13th, All Eyes on Me. February 13th, 1996, All Eyes on Me was released, right? And on the song, Picture Me Rolling, right? Tupac basically, not only does he let us know that he was under investigation and he knew about it, he basically said that somebody had told him that he was under investigation and what he was under investigation for. And in the song, Tupac actually said, you know, and I'm going to give it to you right here. He said what he said. He said, picture me rolling in my 500 Benz. I got no love for these niggas. There's no need to be friends. They got me under surveillance. That's what somebody be telling. Knowing there's being dope sold, but I ain't the one selling. You see that? It would come out later. It would come out later that the FBI was, in fact, doing an investigation on death row, and they said basically that it extended past death row. But the interesting part is that Tupac knew about that. I don't know how many people have been watching the docuseries Dear Mama. And it's the same thing kind of dealing with the COINTELPRO situation involving the Afeni Shakur, the Panther 21, and the Black Panthers at that particular time. Similar, but not the same. Based on the fact that when you deal with the Tupac situation, the initial money that they got from death row, they were investigating that. They were investigating money laundering. They were investigating a few things. But the poignant part about this is that Tupac knew. And not only did he know that, but he put it in a song. You know, and I find that to be so important in this whole situation. So that goes back into what Tupac was actually thinking about, you know, being on death row himself, involved in the situation and what was going on behind the scenes. It also came out that Kevin Hackey, he basically admitted that he was an FBI informant. You know, that these are facts right here. You know, so, but what I wanted to delve into was, who do you think, because, you know, Tupac didn't say, right? Who do you think told Tupac that he was under surveillance? You know? and that part can be, you can speculate, until the cows come home, or should I say the pigs come home from that perspective about who you think. But like I said, in the song, so poignant, they got me under surveillance. That's what somebody be telling. Knowing there's being dope sold, but I ain't the one selling. And like for most people who don't know, here's the documentation. And basically in this documentation, it basically says that the investigation had started some months prior to Tupac's killing. Think about that. So that confirms in the date that All Eyes on Me was released, basically, February 13th, that basically confirms what Tupac was saying was actually true and that he actually knew about it. Because, like I said, I don't know who knew about the investigation prior to, them coming out with it and saying, hey, that they were investigating it and so on and so forth, and basically subpoenaing people and, talking to whether it was Jimmy Iovine, record executives, and so on and so forth, based on the fact of finding out what they knew about any kind of drug activity and so on and so forth at death row. But that's what they were investigating. Also, where the money came from, that they said that helped start death row. You know what I mean? And so but the thing that I found interesting was that Tupac knew about it. He knew that he was under for drug selling. Like, wow. My thing is, who told him? And it's hard to really figure that out, based on what we know now and what we've come to understand here in present day, you know what I mean? Or what we knew then and what we've come to understand today, during the present day, all of the other information that was released. And I don't want people to get this mixed up in regards to the dates and timelines. The investigation involving, or the FBI file that everybody, points to and so on and so forth, involving the extortion attempt, that basically started after Tupac had passed, if you will, right? And it went on into 1997. But this in particular investigation had started months before Tupac passed. So as to get the timeline right, because people, they like to, oh no, there's other paperwork and so on and so forth. What I try to do is, I think dates and times are more important than anything as to what actually happened and the order in which it happened, because then, you get, kind of get a factual timeline, if you will. So yeah, but I find that to be interesting, man. And the crazy part is just, I guess, working around death row, and being around the situation, Tupac, and it's kind of funny because he was like, he said, they got me under surveillance. That's what somebody be telling. Knowing there's dope being sold, but I ain't the one selling. He letting it be known in his look. I know y'all motherfuckers got me under surveillance. You know what I mean? Know there's being dope sold. That's basically what they're saying. But he's basically saying, but I ain't the one selling. And so yeah, I just thought that was interesting, man. When you look at the lyrics and then you look at the real life federal investigation. There was a serious federal investigation involving that, in which the FBI had basically informants working, and Kevin Hackey under death row. And that, like I said, that information came out later on. And so, yeah, I just think it's crazy. But like I said, my thing is bigger than anything. I wanted to know who you guys think informed Tupac about the fact that he was under investigations or basically under surveillance, period, involving that situation. Chime in below in the comments. Who do you think told Tupac that in that circle? Or it could have been somebody, like you say, outside the circle and say, hey, you know what, Tupac, be careful. You know, the feds is investigating Death Row for X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? And that so much so that Tupac would then take with that information that he had and then put it in a song called Picture Me Rolling. Yeah, chime in and tell me what y'all think. Your boy Delray, straight gang.